Madam Chair, I think through your leadership, this committee is aware and has some evidence of termination of contracts that happened just recently, and I think those documents were tabled here. And unfortunately, Bonasias, you are the one who signed them. So when you tell us you are not aware and you left it for the board, that means you are lying to this honorable committee.
CS, proceed.
Madam Chair, I thought the honorable member was asking whether I'm aware whether the feedback or the request we made to the board for the extension of contract for the 8 months has been replied. And that's what I've said, it has not been replied. I think that I was asking particularly to what the Chief of Staff was asked, was confirming.
Yes, I think we are on the same issue.
Yes.
BET requested for extension of contract. Kulei requested for extension of contract through your office. And then you acted upon, you're saying you sent to the Public Service Board.
Yes.
But there are letters that were issued through your office, the letters of termination of contract for those particular staff.
Madam Chair, no letter of termination of contract has been issued. The contract letters, just the way the Chief of Staff is self-terminating. So the letter of appointment ended in October. Now, as you've spoken, Madam Chair, you are right. That delay, which the Chief of Staff is saying consultation was going on, is where the gap is. And when he wrote to me, I said these staff have been providing services with a letter which ended and no renewal of that letter. So my responsibility as head of public service was to write to the Public Service Board to consider extending for that 8 months to enable us compensate them for the service they have provided because they were at work. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I don't know, through your guidance and indulgence, I don't know if you can confirm to this committee and these members that we have letters of termination of those 4 employees. And those letters were signed by the county secretary who is trying to mislead this committee. And it was just done recently because there was a motion in the assembly. When you appeared here as county secretary together with the Public Service Board, the same issue arose and you were in record for your information. Everything is captured, everything is in the answered report. That there was a termination of contract. Kulei himself, in fact, you had a difference with Kulei concerning that issue. Just to remind you.
Before you proceed, CS, I can see Sharon also on the same point of information. You can proceed so that you can be able to answer the rest of the questions.
Mine is to just help guide this conversation. So there are people who are, how many years of contract were these people under? Was it 3 years?
Madam Chair, I want to confirm that there is no letter I've signed personally to terminate a contract.
It's okay, me, I'm not there.
Yes, I'm coming to you. Yeah.
Please give the mic to the CS.
Yes, and Madam Chair, what Honorable Sharon has asked is true. The contract was 3 years.
The 3 years.
It was 3 years, which ended in October 2024.
October, let's just go slowly so that we find a solution and end this question.
Yes.
So it comes to an end October 2024. And then what happens next?
Then what happened? Instead of the immediate supervisors.
Who are the immediate supervisors?
That is the Chief of Staff.
Chief of Staff.
Because these officers were working under the Chief of Staff.
Okay.
So the immediate supervisor's responsibility is when a contract ends for any officer, you release.
All right. On that, my understanding is that before a contract comes to an end, there's that process of telling an employee, now your contract, there's a letter that must be done to that employee.
Correct.
Was that letter done?
Madam Chair, it is two front. the officer himself, when 1 month remains, puts a request. That is one. Two, the immediate supervisor, when 1 month appears, should also inform.
Was the person
So
informed?
the two of them, the immediate supervisor and the employee.
Okay, now that the employees are not here to speak for themselves, let's speak or
Yes,
talk of
yeah, but,
the supervisor is here.
but,
Let me just go to the supervisor because this seems to fall under him through the chair. The chief of staff, did you do, when the contract was about to lapse, did you do the notice to these employees? And if you did, please tell us when you're going to provide the letter that was received, signed and received by each employee.
Madam Chair, I didn't do any memo or any letter to them.
Oh, you did not?
But they did.
Okay.
Proceed to,
You know, we are not
you
going
be guided by Honorable Sharon so that you move faster.
And you're not going to speak on, we cannot speak on behalf of people who are not here. So you are supposed to do a letter as the person who is the supervisor, and you said that you did not. Okay, now let's proceed. We have these people. Now the contract has come to an end. There's no letter that has been issued to them telling them now we don't intend to probably extend your contract. There was no letter to that extent, right?
Madam Chair, as the County Secretary said, it is two-way.
I don't want to go to the other way. I just want to talk on issues that you and is under your control.
Madam Chair, I think I ask for your protection here because I need to explain exactly what happened.
Are you going to guide me on how I'm going to ask my question, Chair? I also need protection. I need protection.
Honorable Sharon and Mr. Bates, it's Honorable Sharon who is asking questions, and answer what you know about the questions you're being asked, and when you don't know, probably maybe you say no, so that you proceed to the next step.
Okay, what did the employees do?
Madam Chair, the employees wrote letters requesting for contract extension.
Okay, what did you tell them?
And when they write, I don't think I'll try to remind them because they know.
Hey.
Them writing the letters shows that they know.
Okay, let's go back again. They did a request for extension of contract?
Yes.
And then you went quiet.
As
And
I
then
said,
you went quiet. And you let them report to your office every single day for 7 months, right?
Madam Chair, protect me so that I can manage to answer these questions.
Those are leading questions. You
They are
proceed
leading
to
questions
answer
and-
those questions until the end.
Yes, I will answer, but let me be allowed to answer them one by one.
Okay, I'm going to ask you. So they do a letter requesting for extension. You went quiet. Did you go quiet?
Madam Chair, I didn't respond to the letters.
You
on
did
time.
not respond to the letter. Next question. Did they attend and offered services to Baringo County for 7 months thereafter?
As I said, Madam Chair, some of them had been transferred away from the office in the process, and they had some immediate supervisors who were with them.
The ones that remained with you? How many did they remain with you?
Madam Chair, none was directly working under me at that time.
Where were they? Who were their supervisors?
One had been transferred to enforcement. Another one had gone to the call center. And I may not recall of it.
And who did the deployment to those other departments?
They were done by the Chief Officer of the Public Service.
It was done by, is that Charles Kule?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to the letter that you did. Are you the one that did a letter to extend their contracts?
I did request, Madam Chair, for an extension of 7 months since their services
Okay,
in the office of
just
the
allow me
governor.
to guide you. You are the one who did the letter of extending their contract.
Yes.
Were these people under your supervision for you to do the letter extending their contract?
In their employment letter, they were clearly under my supervision.
You know you're blowing hot and cold. You've rightfully said that they were transferred to different departments. And by doing so, you recuse yourself from any liability. And you went ahead and did a letter requesting for the extension. Is that what you're saying?
Madam Chair, as far as I'm concerned, they could have been moved, but they were still voting. They were still workers under the governor's office. Just like even now, there are some governor's staff who have been transferred to offer services somewhere else. But they are still directly reporting to me in their letter. The new letter doesn't change.
Chief of Staff, what are you saying? If people are already been transferred and they are not you're not supervising them, how are they under you again?
Honorable Sharon, the CS want to inform me. I don't know if you need his information.
Oh, I need his information because this is very important.
Madam Chair, I want to clarify to the honorable members that we are on a program-based budgeting. These staff, however much they have been taken to other departments, the funding is from the office of the governor. That means the governor has given out to assist in a service need. Now, when the chief of staff, when they are now with other supervisors, that's now Charles Kipkulei. Kipkulei, before renewal, should have consulted the chief of staff whether he has the money to extend the contract. So, and priorities change as per the need of that particular department. So I wanted to say that there was a gap, as you have said, Madam Sharon, Honorable Sharon, that there was a gap. And that gap is when these officers have worked for 7 months, no compensation, and no renewal. And that had to be corrected.
Okay, that correction that you're doing, you know, once a contract has come to an end, and I want the HR chair, if the HR can help us here, because he's an expert. When a contract comes to an end and you allow somebody to work, what becomes to these employees' terms?
Chair, I think you mentioned something which is very clear, that contracts are self-executing.
Yes.
When they come to an end,
Yes.
it is either you can leave
Yes.
or leave.
Yeah.
However, as you said, the HR manual is very clear.
Yes.
For everybody who's on contract,
Yeah.
it allows you, within the last 6 months of your contract,
Yes.
you must request for an extension.
Yes.
So what needs to be confirmed is, was there a request people within that period?
There was a request.
Now, where an employee now continues to
Yes.
stay
Yeah.
and is allocated duty, there is a pre-assumption
Yes.
that there was the intention to renew the contract.
Correct. So the intention to renew the contract, according to you as the expert, how long should the contract last?
It should be immediate because, you know, we are all have what we call liabilities in life.
Yes.
So whenever you keep quiet beyond
Yes.
a month,
Yeah.
then even the person, psychologically, the ones who are actually their contract have ended, presumes in their mind that the employer doesn't have a problem with me continuing.
Does the employee converted into, is the contract renewed automatically by the law to the same number of years that the previous contract was, or the person is converted into an employee?
The law does not provide a situation whereby you must renew.
Yes.
It has provided a period that any contract can be between 1 year to 5 years.
So in this particular situation, is the head of the HR. So what do you think applies?
In terms of the, it is a prerogative also of the employer to decide how long they want to renew the contract. However, the challenge, and I think the CS has mentioned, is that there was a laguna in between.
Who created the lacuna?
The laguna was created sometime when the governor realized that there were staff within the devolution that he felt that they were not satisfactorily being utilized. So there was a decision to shift staff that were not very busy to other departments. And I think it's correctly, the 4 were removed from, 2 went to communication directorates.
It's okay.
Yes.
I'm still, there's this consultation that the chief of staff is talking about. This consultation they are talking about, that took 7 months for them to realize, oops, we have these people who have been working here, we need to rectify. We need to rectify the situation because they've been working, they've not been paid for 7 months. So what kind of consultation was happening? And remembering, these are people, you've just told me that the governor realized that there was a vacuum somewhere. If the governor had realized that there was a vacuum, why is it that you did not give them contract and start paying them their dues? Because you remember, for those 7 months that these employees were working without salaries, their NHIF was not being paid, their NSSF were not being paid, so they've suffered damages. For all those months, when, let's say for example, if any one of them became sick, what could have become of them? And you're utilizing them, and the governor knows that they need to be used. Is that what you've said? So what kind of consultation is that takes 7 months?
Chair, I might not be able to answer correctly that, but what I want to add to what the chief of staff said.
If you cannot answer my question, just delegate to someone else so that they can answer the question.
I needed to explain a small part
Okay.
where these are staff who are initially under the office of the governor.
Yes.
Then there is a decision to transfer to work somewhere else. As he says, he might not have noted that these people are still there. On the other hand, we have, when they were transferred, their direct supervision moved from him to the chief of staff of the department.
Who transferred them? Who did the transfer letters?
I think it was done by the chief of staff for the devolution public service.
So Charles wakes up one day and decides to draft letters transferring people working under the governor's office to his other departments. Is that what you're saying?
There must have been a consultation.
Consultation between who and who?
Definitely between the office of the governor and the office of the county secretary and the office of the...
So they knew that they required their services even then, but they didn't give them new contracts. They have not been paid for 7 months. That is when we started this motion, that is when CS woke up and realized we need to compensate these people, poor people. They've been working for 7 months without salaries. Yet you're telling us that you had realized that you needed their services. Why is it that you did not renew their contracts if you guys are truthful?
My understanding, so that I can give the county secretary, my understanding is that they were transferred before their contracts ended. That movement happened before the contracts ended.
On that note, Honorable Sharon, before he moves the mic to the CS, are the said contracted staff who among they had same contract with you, the legal officer and the admin at the service board? Over to the CS, not you.
Madam Chair, the officers were employed the same time with the 3. That is the Director HR.
So since he said, you've confirmed what I'm asking,
yes.
Since he said they were working with budget constraint, why is it that they had their budget to continue and the other one didn't have budget to continue?
I've said we are on program-based budgeting. The budget for HR is with the CEO Public Service and Devolution. The budget for the 2 in the County Public Service Board is under County Public Service Board. The budget for the 4 is under the Office of the Governor, under the Chief of Staff. That is how it is. So the renewal...
You're confirming to us that their budget ended?
So the budget for these 3, the officer requested. For the 2, now, that's what saying they were consultation. And they were consultation, and that's why now it makes the request as they use.
CS, for 7 months you do consultation of a job?
That is what the Chief of Service is mentioning. And honorable members, Madam Chair, you are alive to our budget of this financial year. It was never active.
Chair,
from...
we should not go on the issue of the budget. My question is that when you are keeping people for 7 months, and then you're keeping them knowingly that you're infringing on their rights, you're exposing Baringo County into an extra budget that we're not budgeted for. So right now, you realize that there is a mistake. You now want to correct the mistake. Using our money, where will you get the budget from? Let's start from there. Where are you getting the budget to pay them for the 7 months?
Madam Chair, the budget is available.
Was it available if you've created the budget now?
You see, Madam Chair, CARA for this financial year came down, and consultations are going on. Even you are aware that our projects never took off up to December. It is public domain, and that's why that consultation was taking long, so that they can be able to ascertain whether we have budget to engage these people. And that is why...
Consultation taking 7 months long. Consultation, and you're using people's human resource. They're providing labor to this county. CS, just be truthful. Was that a consultation or it was an error?
Madam Chair, I think the COS can confirm that because it is their office.
You're the one who is saying that it's a consultation.
That is,
But Honorable Sharon, you see, the CS, you come in to talk about the issues of the Chief of Staff.
Yes.
And it's not about you.
Yes, I was.
Now you are locked, you are at the corner, you don't have answers. Now you want us to go back to... Can you finish this issue of Chief Officer? Let him answer the questions comprehensively and we close that chapter. While Honorable Sialo, you'll take up after Honorable Sharon.
Okay. The consultation that took 7 months, what was that was being discussed for 7 months?
Thank you, Chair. As the CSR said, there have been austerity measures put in place in the governor's office. And as you are aware, government main duty is to offer services. And from the services that they offer, we decide as an office whether we need certain position or not. These were positions that were in the governor's office. But they were transferred because maybe their work was not clear. We didn't see much of their work when we came in. So we sent them to other places where they can offer services. Now their contracts ended. And this is a budget for the governor's office. So as part of the austerity measures, it was decided that maybe these positions lapse.
At what point were they transferred?
I may not be so sure of the dates because I was not aware.
Did you find them there working?
Where? In the governor's office?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
So at what point, which month approximately? Because these are the people that you see every day, they are working under your supervision. If not every day, at least every other day.
The transfers could have happened somewhere in 2023. Not all of them were done once. Not all of them were moved once. They were moved in phases. Including even some of our tenure staff have been moved to other offices to offer services.
If you knew that, let me ask you, if you knew that already the office of the governor, there were constraints of budget, is that something that was in your knowledge at that point? When the contracts came to an end?
Madam Chair.
Was there you've just told us that there was budget constraints. Isn't that what you said?
Madam Chair, the budget constraint was there, but there is no way we could have terminated just a contract like that.
So let me ask you, as the person that is responsible, so you put as responsible of that department, so you would put them just waiting for nothing, like you just put somebody there just because you need them, you don't have a budget, you just let them work without paying them, waiting for a day that will come when you realize that there is a problem that needs to be corrected. This extension of contract right now that you're doing, are you correcting a problem or you're extending because you wanted to extend?
Madam Chair, I think when I wrote the letter for them to be paid, a request for them to be paid 7 months, to be given a 7-month contract so they pay their dues, it was more on a humanitarian ground, putting in mind that their new supervisors didn't stop them on time. So I didn't want a situation where we just write back and say that these people, their contract are ended.
It's not even on humanitarian grounds. It's their legal right. Don't make people look like they're so... You know, one thing that I'm noting about this Baringo in general, you're making the employees look like they're desperate, they don't know their rights. They actually do know their rights. When they're working there, their legitimate expectation, their contracts, they were going to be extended.
Honorable Cialo, you want to inform?
And I'm done, Chair. I think we'll go round in circles on this matter.
Honorable Cialo, proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to inform this committee and probably the members who are appearing before us that I had a privilege to serve in the previous regime as the head of GDU. The staff that you're mentioning were my colleagues under the office of the governor. When the recruitment of those 4, actually it was not the 4. The recruitment that was done was for seven employees. Number 1 is the director HR who is sitting before us. The second person was Dennis, Mary. There was the legal officer who is currently working with the Public Service Board. And then there was another lady by the name Kayla something. You guys were 7. Now, recently, there was an extension of contract of the 3 out of 7. One is the director, he got a contract, and of course, we have a question why he got a contract extension of 5 years, later on it was cancelled, and he was given 3. But him now, he has an extension of 3 years contract. And their initial contract of all the 7 was 3 years each. Yeah, including the legal officers, the communication and all those. But now, there was a contract extension of 3. Director HR, the lady at the Public Service Board, and the other one. Well, the other 4, theirs did not come through. Reasons, we don't know, best known to you. Madam. Now you requested, and Madam Chair, I want to bring again to the attention of this honorable committee that the letters of deployment that were sent to these staff, the four ones, was signed by the county secretary who is seated before us. And I have a letter to that effect. Honorable Chepkwony, let me read with the permission of the chair. This is a letter that was written to Dennis.
Honorable Cialo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It was a letter that was written to Mr. Dennis Ruto, person number 202-104-99-960, under the Department of Devolution, Public Service, Administration, ICT, and E-Government. Through the Chief Officer, Public Service and Administration, ICT, and E-Government, dear Mr. Ruto, the reference was deployment. Then now the county government of Baringo, in its endeavor to improve service delivery and to optimally utilize staff skills, has decided to transfer you from the office of the governor to the office of to the Department of Finance and Economic Planning with immediate effect. Please ensure that you do a comprehensive handing over before being released to your new station. By a copy of this letter, the Chief Officer, Finance and Revenue Management is requested to deploy you to and inform this office on the new areas of deployment. On behalf of the county government of Baringo, I take this opportunity to wish you well in your new assignment. Yours sincerely, Honorable Dr. Jacob Kurui Chepkwony, PhD.
CS, please confirm.
Are you aware of that letter?
About that letter, if you're aware.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the interdepartmental transfers come through my office, but the requester is the accounting officer of that particular department. So the Chief Officer of Public Service, who is the accounting officer in the office of the governor, makes the request through my office because I'm transferring them to other departments. So they cannot communicate directly, but they come through my office. So I take the responsibility for interdepartmental transfer because of the request of the accounting officer, public service and devolution, where the office of the governor sits.
And on turn, CS also, I want you to still confirm, where did you say their budget went where? Ended? Did you say their budget ended?
Madam Chair, their budget never ended. When they were transferred to the other departments, they were serving, utilizing the budget of the governor. Because they are
but we are aware that the budget of salaries are all consolidated. It's not about all the salaries are in one pool.
No, these particular officers are serving under the governor's office, and every department.
So for our HR, its budget is different, and the legal.
What we do, Madam Chair, you know the budget making process, every department presents their request. When it comes to the budget of HR, we finally consolidate at where? At HR. But when you go and look at it, it comes from every department.
Honorable Layango?
Madam Chair, I think there was a question that I asked and he has not answered. And it's good, he has confirmed that actually he was the one who deployed the 4, while initially he denied and misled the committee. Now it is clear it was the county secretary who deployed the 4 staff. It was not the chief of staff, neither was it the public service board, but basically it was the CS. Now my question was, why was it that the other 4 out of the 7, 3 of them had a contract extension of 3 years, the other ones stayed for 7 months, up to now they have not received an extension of contract. And from the requisition of both the chief of staff and the CEO, the requisition that they've sent to the public service board through the CS is for an extension of 7 months. Why 7 months? And these officers are not tenure employees like the other ones. The 7 were not tenure. So let's not mislead the committee that the employment was tenure. It was not tenure. So why renew this one for 3 years, like their first contract, and these other ones you've requested for 7 months, and they worked for 7 months without pay, instead of giving them 3 months. 3 years as the other colleagues. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The Chief of Staff, Mr. Bett.
I don't think I say that their contract was tenure. I've just said that maybe there are some other members of other staff who have tenure contracts who have been moved to offer services somewhere else because their services are needed there more. And I will not talk about the 7 because I don't know. I'll just talk about the 4. The 4 that I know. The other 3, I was not aware of their contracts. The 4 were not on tenure. They were on fixed term contract.